Hi friends, and welcome to my channel. My name's Angela, and today we're going to be using some Dollar Tree craft sticks to create some tiered tray decor for Valentine's Day. So let's jump into the crafting. So the first project we're going to be working on today is a mini cutting board. I'm going to start out with 5 of these craft sticks. The sheath to my scissors had a hole that was the perfect size, so I'm going to trace that onto one of the craft sticks. I picked up this pack of wood chisels from Dollar Tree. It had one that was kind of curved and it actually fit perfectly into this. Just applying a little bit of pressure, I was able to push it down through the craft stick and cut this out. I then used wire cutters to cut off the bottom edge. I then proceeded to cut off the bottoms of the remaining 4 popsicle sticks. Using this square, I was able to get a perfectly straight line to cut these down to size, repeating the process on all 4 craft sticks. I took an additional craft stick and cut it down to fit across the back side of the cutting board. I used the plastic piece from my combination square along with this wood piece to line up 2 of the craft sticks, and I used hot glue to attach the bottom brace. I then flipped it over and continued to glue down the remaining craft sticks. Once the glue was set, I flipped it back over and repeated the process to place the top brace on. Once that was done, I flipped it over again and used the curved chisel to round the corners. I started to sand the top, but realized the middle was a little too flimsy, so I took the extra pieces that I had cut off of these other braces and made a center brace as well. After gluing those down, I was able to sand the top just slightly to smooth it out and to kind of blend the lines between them a little bit. I then took another scrap piece and sanded that down to make a kickstand. Gluing that in place at an angle. Y'all, I forgot to hit record when I used all-purpose caulk to fill in some of the gaps. These craft sticks are not necessarily straight when you butt them up together like I did. Then I sanded that down just to smooth it out before painting the entire thing white. Once the paint was dry, I flipped it over and painted the back side as well. I then decided to distress it with some antiquing wax just to give it a more rustic look. I decided to go over the distressing a little bit with some white paint just to soften it up. I then used my Cricut to cut out the saying, "All you need is love." I started to weed out the vinyl I had cut. I have a couple hearts, the word is, which the I was not wanting to come off. Neither was part of the S. So I just decided that I was going to reverse weed that, so I stopped on that one, continued with love. And this one says all you need, and the letters were really skinny, so I knew that I needed to reverse weed this one as well. I had originally put the word is on a red heart, but then once I saw it next to love, I didn't really like the color difference between the two reds. So I was able to remove that and put it on a pink heart. After gluing it down and putting on the vinyl hearts, I decided to coat the whole thing in Mod Podge just to seal everything in. I made a really simple bow by taking a piece of ribbon and tying it around the top. And then I took a second piece of smaller ribbon and made a loop, gluing that together. With the third piece of ribbon, I just wrapped it around the middle, gluing that down as well. And then I ended up gluing it to the knot of the tails. Once that was done, I cut down the tails, and I wanted them to not cover the words, so I just kind of tacked them in place with a little dab of hot glue. The next project we're going to work on is a little mini house. I started with 5 of the bigger craft sticks and 5 of the smaller ones. First step was to cut off the bottom edge of all of these large ones. Once they were all cut, I marked the center of the middle stick so I could create the peak of the roof. After those lines were drawn on half, I used my razor knife to cut those out and then used them as a template for the opposite side. Once the opposite side was cut, I used those to get the angle correct on the middle section. And just like the last project, I used scrap pieces to create the brace connecting all the sticks together. When it came to creating the roof line for this house, I found the easiest way was to cut off one end of a popsicle stick, lay it where you want it to go, with the top point touching the tip of the house, taking another popsicle stick, placing it vertically along the tip, and then it'll help you create the perfect diagonal line. And then you just repeat that same process for the opposite side, creating a perfect roof line. After marking where I wanted the roof line to end, measuring and cutting that out, I used that one side as a template to cut out the second side. Because I'm putting a saying on this house, I wanted the outside of the house to also be framed in. So I used painter's tape to temporarily hold the sticks in place while I figured out the length and angles of them. I didn't want to glue them down because I wanted to use this antiquing wax to stain all the sides, so I didn't have to worry about getting any of it on the house itself. Now while those were drying, I painted both the front and the back side with chalk paint and gave it 2 good coats. Now wanting these 2 projects to somewhat match, I decided to distress this house as well because the stark white was just a little too much. After dry brushing on the antique wax, I did go back over it with a little white paint just to soften it up again. I did use a combination of wood glue and hot glue to glue these side pieces down. The wood glue gives it the permanent strong hold, and the hot glue gives it that instant hold. Now I was being impatient when I made this, and I did not wait for the sticks to fully dry before I started gluing them down, and the hot glue actually did not stick to the antiquing wax, so I did have to remove them, use my hair dryer, dry them out, and then re-glue them down, and it worked great. Now this section, I went back to my Cricut and made another saying that says "Love lives here." However, I didn't press record when I was applying the vinyl to the house, but like the other one, I'm going in and coating it in Mod Podge. Keeping with the same theme, I'm going to create another bow. However, with this one, the tails will be different since I'm not wrapping it around anything. After the bow was done, I took a wood heart and glued that down to the house, and then glued the bow to the top. The last step was to glue on the kickstand at an angle. The final project we're going to work on is an A-frame ladder, and I think this one was the easiest by far. I started out with 8 of the craft sticks and cut the bottoms off of all of them at a slight angle. Now you could have used just 4 of the craft sticks. I chose to double up the sides to make them a little thicker. I cut one at more of an angle on the opposite end, and then used that one to kind of trace and measure out its twin so that I could trim them and cut them to size. And I repeated that on all the rest, and taping them together with their mate as I went along. Taking 2 additional popsicle sticks, I taped those together so that everything would end up the same size, measuring it out and cutting off the ends and cutting in the middle to create the 4 rungs for the ladder. Once the rungs were complete, I used a combination of gel super glue and hot glue to glue these 2 pieces together, and did that on all the sets. When those were done, I then again used a combination of gel super glue and hot glue to combine 2 of these together to create the A-frame of the ladder. Each one of these letters is going to go on a separate rung on our ladder, and I actually had to make these letters out of a heart that came in the same pack as the one you see there from Dollar Tree, because all of them in my area were either too big to fit between the rungs, or the ones that were the right size were too whimsical and the look just didn't work for me. So I made these, and now I'm painting them with some red paint on both sides and giving each side 2 coats. I then painted each of the A-frames and all of the rungs white. Once everything was dry, it was time to assemble. I started out with a combination again of hot glue and gel super glue. Now this part was a little tricky because I was trying to do both sides at the same time. So I used a ruler to get the bottom rung straight, and then started to glue down the letters. I quickly decided that because the surface area of the rungs is so small, I needed that full amount for the hot glue to make it stick sturdy enough for me to continue working on the project. I decided the easiest way to do this, because I'm sandwiching those letters, is to do one side of one rung and squish it down, and then go back in and glue the other side once all the letters were in place. Now, is this perfectly straight? Not at all. And my rungs aren't even straight. Some of them are tilting in, some of them are tilting back, but it's okay because that's the beauty in handmade. is that it doesn't look perfect. Make sure to let me know in the comment section which one of these is your favorite. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so you can get notified every time I post a new video. Until next time, bye!